No kids have mine. Now, before I talk about my response to that, what I want to say is that I've been privileged to do the recordings, host them, if you like, for everybody who's taken part in this part of World Childless Week. And I've been amazed by the honesty, the openness, the authenticity, the integrity, etc., of everybody who's taken part. And I've also been impressed by the fact that, we're talking about some fairly, upsetting comments for many people, and yet everybody has, remained calm, etc., and focused. And whilst I've been very impressed by that, it has sort of worried me in a way, because whilst I know that everybody who is childless not by choice will listen to these videos, watch these videos, and things will resonate with them, I am concerned that if anybody who watches them is a parent, they might be going, well, you're talking about these things as being very hurtful, etc., yet you don't look very upset. So what I'm going to do when I talk about my response to no kids have mine is I'm going to let those emotions bubble up to the surface if they arise. And I make no apology if this makes this video a little bit more uncomfortable for some people to watch, because I think you really do need to know that it does upset people. Now, I've not actually had anybody say to me, no kids have mine. What I have had, though, is people physically give me their children. I've, on a number of occasions, gone to a social event. I've arrived, people have greeted me, and they've literally sort of thrust the latest baby in my arms and said to me, here, Nicci, I know that you want to have children, have a bit of practice, sort of thing. And I sort of take a deep breath, and I do love children, I love babies, so I would normally accept a situation and I would, cuddle them, play with them, whatever it was. And I do have a knack as well with young babies, being able to get them off to sleep when they are crying and things. So I would go through all of that. And then somebody would come up to me and said, oh, Nicci, it's such a shame you don't have kids, because you would make a fantastic mother. And it's a case of, well, you've stabbed me in the heart, now why don't you take a huge sledgehammer and ram it even further into my heart, and twist it a couple of times as well, because that really does hurt. So Andrew and I would then leave, we'd get into the car, and I would normally be in floods of tears by the time we rounded the first corner. We've also had situations where people have come to stay with us for a few days with their children, and literally the moment they have walked through the front door, they have abdicated all responsibility for their children. And Andrew and I have actually had to take up the role of parenting for those few days. We've done this for a number of reasons. One is that we had cats who weren't used to having a 5- and 7-year-old child screaming and shouting and running around all over the place. So the cats were terrified, and we had to sort of exert a little bit of control for the sake of our cats. And the other thing is that during the day, the focus would be on looking after and entertaining children. And it would get to sort of about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and the children would still be running around demanding attention. And it's a case of, actually, I would like to have a bit of downtime, a bit of adult time. And it would get to 10 o'clock, and the children were still running around demanding attention. So Andrew and I would eventually sort of say, come on, it's time to go to bed. And the parents have actually said to us, you know what, it is so lovely coming and staying with you, Nicci and Andrew, because we know that you will look after our children for us when we are here and we don't have to worry about it. And it's a case of, well, thank you very much for kicking me in the stomach, because you're here on holiday, but it's meant to be a holiday for us as well. And this is not that enjoyable. However, our house, our rules, and we've got to do something about this to be able to enjoy ourselves as well slightly. The worst event or situation I had, though, was coming up to 2 years ago. A girlfriend of mine was really struggling in the UK, and I was going back for a visit. And her father had died in September, and her mother usually looked after her daughter, so my goddaughter, little girl, whilst the mother, my friend, so that gets confusing slightly, sorry, well, my girlfriend had to go away and work away from home twice a week. And the granny wasn't coping. So my girlfriend said, you're over here, Nicci, any chance of you being able to extend your time here so that you can look after the little girl? And I sort of dropped everything. I stayed for 2 weeks. I needed to be back home here for a little bit, but I then went back for another 2 weeks just before Christmas. And during those 4 weeks, I did the school run every day. I took my goddaughter to ballet, to dance class, took her to the carol service. And I have to say that it was actually probably one of the worst times of my life. I enjoyed spending time with her. I enjoyed doing homework with her and getting her ready for bed and plaiting her hair in the evenings. But you know what? I went to bed and I cried myself to sleep every night. I would drop her off at school and the mums were so cruel to me. I was a stranger. They met me a couple of times in passing with this little girl and the girl's mother, my girlfriend, but that was it. They came up to me, one of them came up to me and started talking and said, do you have children? And I said, no, I have not been able to have them. And you know what? Apart from one person, they ostracised me totally for the next 4 weeks. I was ostracised at the school carol service as well. Nobody talked to me. I knew nobody, and yet nobody came up and talked to me. And it's a case of, that is so wrong. So when you say to somebody, even as a joke, no kids have mine, it hurts because we do want children. And I know that sometimes it's said because you're at your wit's end. I do appreciate that, but I have been absolutely devastated during those 2 weeks, 4 weeks rather. As I say, I cried myself to sleep every night. I cried every time I got into the car after I dropped my goddaughter off at school, because it was so darn tough, because she's an adorable girl. And just every moment I spent with her was a double-edged sword. It was wonderful, but every moment it reminded me of what I was missing out on. So please, not even as a joke, don't say it. Thank you.